So, good morning, my artsy friends. Happy Monday morning. Welcome to our regularly scheduled Monday morning live. As always, I have to tell you, I am super excited and I feel so blessed that you took time out of your regular schedule to join over in the Thrifty YouTube art community. We go live every Monday at 11 a.m. There's a pre recorded release every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Whenever we do review videos, they drop on Fridays at 10 a.m. And then randomly throughout the year, I will pop up with lives and special videos that I always keep you guys updated with. So always be sure to check the community post section here on YouTube, follow over on Instagram as well as Facebook. This past Wednesday, we had a color pencil time lapse drop here on YouTube where I was doing a field test with I'm grabbing the box here. I was doing a field test with the Lifeline Rub and Sniff scented color pencils. Now, this is a 20 count of color pencils where each pencil has been infused with a different essential oil blend. And as you rub the barrel of the pencil, that particular oil becomes more prominent. And I'll have to say, this of course I'm not doing a review on these or anything, but I have to say that they have long whimsical names that seem to match the essential oil pretty well. So I just think this is such a unique thing. And so I did some testing with them. Of course, I swatched them out, and you guys get to see all of that in the review video. But the first thing that I illustrated with them was this blackberry, which I was trying to push towards a little realism so that you guys could get a realistic feel for doing an illustration in color pencils. So you can check this out. Go back and check this out. This was this past Wednesday. Let's see. So what else? And I'm going to be giving away a 10 count. I have. Let me see if I can put my hands on it right quick. So I have another set of those pencils that came. Oh, here we go. So I have this little mini 10 count set that came with this set when it was sent to me. And I believe Amy sent these. But nonetheless, when I get around to the review video for the big pack, I am going to be giving away the 10 pack set. So if you are a essential oil fan and you think that might be something you would like or be interested in, be sure to keep your ears to the ground for that review when it drops so that you'll be able to do blah 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 and maybe win those. So this past creation station, not creation station, the past creation station live, we did potpourri. It was real quick, real cute. Basically, what I was doing was pulling out products that I haven't used in a while and giving them another run. I have so many watercolor sets. I will probably never use them up within my lifetime, but I can sure try. So I pulled out a set that I hadn't used in a while. This is the Supervision Professional Watercolor 24 half pen set that was used to create this. So if you're a member of the Creation Station and you missed, excuse me, last Monday's live, you can go check that out. If you are a member of the Creation Station and you missed this past Just Keep Painting release, I took you through how to push a landscape from a beginner landscape into intermediate territory. So we did this little marsh. It was real quick, real cute, but it was a lot of fun. So if you missed it, that is this past Just Keep Painting real time tutorial that dropped over in the creation station, I guess about 2 days ago. And I do believe that that catches us up on everything. We can go ahead and get started with what we have going on today. So I we have gathered here today to take a look at the Fuumuui watercolor paint set portable pocket premium quality paint set. It says that they're easy to blend, highly pigment, non-toxic, advanced series for all skill levels from beginner to professional. Now, you guys have heard me say this before. I have been very thoroughly impressed with the products that are coming out of Fuumuui, um, that they're shipping. So, we know that they white label and they're evidently finding amazing factories in order to produce these products. Just last week or last live, or maybe two lives ago, we popped open the Fuumuui travel brushes, which are dual end brushes. So basically, you get three barrels, but six brushes. So cool. And I have found myself picking these up and using them a lot since I opened them. So I do have those sitting here, although I think there's a brush in here. I just showed those to say that there's been a lot of things coming out of the Famuhi end of the world that I have found very good quality to be a budget company. Absolutely. So let's pop these open. They come in, of course, a plastic bag here. If you're a crafter like myself, more than likely you're going to want to hang on to that bag. We keep everything because we can make in our heads, we're telling ourselves it's going to be useful for something. So I'm just going to pop that over to the side of my little scrap bin because it will be useful for something. Here we have, it says 3 milliliters, 12 colors from Yuhi. I read that little section for you already. Let's flip it over on the back. We're going to get a digital color swatching. Now, here's what I say. When it comes to water soluble products, no matter what it is, whether it's a paint, a gouache, a watercolor pencil, a watercolor crayon, a watercolor ink, a water soluble oil pastel, anything that's in the water soluble realm, I always suggest that you swatch it out on the paper type that you use the most. That way, you can get a more in depth look at what that particular paint is going to look like on a substrate that you may possibly grab on a regular basis. Now, here we're going to have a digitized swatch, which are showing you the color number for each, as well as the color name. Now, the very first thing I notice when I look at it is that some of the color numbers, like how they number the set, has letters in it. And right off the bat, there's only one factory that I know of that uses letters in their color coding, and that is Superior. And I'll show you right off the bat what I mean. Here I have a Roy and Lang Nickel Essential 18 watercolor, what they call flip kit. But Royal and Lang Nickel white labels their products from other factories. And of course, most of the fan palettes and flip kits that you see on the market, regardless of what brand name they carry, are more than likely white labeled by the Superior Art Factory in China. The one thing that they're known for above most other factories is that they use numbers, specifically C's and D's, in their color coding. And the very first thing I noticed about the numbering system for these colors is that cadmium yellow is a CO4. Right off the bat, cadmium yellow is a CO4. Let me see if there's a CO4 in here. No, but there's a CO5, which would be close to cad yellow. Let's see. They have a scarlet, which is a 052. There's not a scarlet in this set, and these reds are labeled with C. So, and I noticed that a lot of them have O or C. So O could be in place of the C. Now, all of this stuff that I'm saying right now is speculation. I just happen to notice that it's using a C lettering system. Of course, after testing the paints and doing a little bit more research into the whole thing, I'll let you guys know once we get around to the review. But right off, there's already indication that these might be superior paints. So you get 12 watercolors. They are made by the Shijing, I'm not going to try to butcher that, but Shijing something network technology company. So that's the factory that these are produced in. Let's see. Of course, it's in China. It gives production date, batch number, as well as an email. And I noticed that the email is urangelo1@hotmail.com. So I'm going to assume that that's probably an email for somebody that personally acts as a distributor. That's a Hotmail email. So, um, yeah, that's pretty much all of the information. Let's go ahead and pop this open because I might be dragging this out a little bit. We got Fuumuui printed on the sides. Once we pop it open and get to the inside here, it is covered with cardboard, which you can slide that out. Okay, so that's put in there to protect the wooden pallet, which is a great thing. And here we have a really beautiful, I guess if I had to guess, this is probably walnut, maybe? Let me see if it says on the box. It doesn't. I have to go back and read the video, the product description to see if it says. Okay, so I had it upside down. Here we go. From you, he printed on the front. You can already tell. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but I can already see that there's a bit of fading on the logo there. Interesting. Seems very solid. Let's pop it open here. Okay, so it's a two-piece held together by magnets, which are actually really, really strong. So the magnets are really strong. You got three mixing wheels. That seems to be, yeah, that's plastic. So you got three mixing wheels there made of plastic on the top part of the lid. There's a little brochure here that serves as a swatching sheet, and it gives you a much closer look at the color names as well as the number that they use, stock numbers. Let's see, what is this shows? So this is just showing how you can remove and then reinsert each pan into the actual tray. All right. Now we have a brush, another brush. Cool. I really like this particular brush set, so I'm really interested in using this. Let's see what we have. Oh, it looks like there's a infinity pencil on here. So you get a from Yuhi travel brush here. Let's see. Okay, that hole is okay. So they drill the hole on the side so that air will circulate in there to dry the bristles of the brush. They typically see here drill the holes on the bottom, but because on this end they have what is known as a infinity pencil or a forever pencil, and let me just show you what that is. It's basically graphite that you can draw with. So you have your brush and your pencil all in one, which is actually pretty cool. Let's see. So this seems to be a number 10 and a number 1. On this end, there is a number 10 round. Okay. Has a really nice point on it. And on the opposite end, it's a liner. It's a number 1. So, I mean, not bad. Now, when you take both caps off, that's actually, look at that. Look at how small that is. Um, yeah. So definitely, I would say, okay, that's better. That feels better. No, no, they're not as long as the other brushes. They're not as long at all. Okay. But yeah, not bad. We'll wash some sizing out of both of those ends and give those a try. I do like the fact that it has a pencil. So here we have a sponge. And of course, your sponge is meant for you to be able to wash your brushes with if you're painting outside and on the go. I typically only use sponges with water brushes, like so. So it's interesting that they have one in this set for a regular travel brush, but I guess it really doesn't matter. All right, so we have lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, which I'm going to assume there's a hue. I doubt that these are really cadmium pigments in here. There's scarlet, rose red, ochre, which I would have to rearrange that, burnt sienna. We have a cobalt blue, Prussian blue, leaf green, which is going to be their version of sap, Viridian, which more than likely is just phthalo green because this is a student grade fit right off. I can tell you that. Purple and Payne's gray. And if I had to guess that cobalt is not real cobalt, more than likely it's the pigment that they use for ultramarine mixed with white. But I will say, as of right now, I don't see any pigment information or any artist information. Nothing other than just the actual color names. So let's go ahead and pop these out. I'm going to rearrange these real quick to go in the order I would have them. And then we're going to swatch these out. So you just kind of Remove the clamp to release the colors. They come right out. Now that tray is actually, I don't know if it's glued or welded in, but it's in there pretty tight, so you don't remove that. But if you decided you didn't like these paints, you could always remove them and just use the travel palette, which is absolutely gorgeous. I really like that. This may be something I look at for my next palette. This is really nice. Of course, you guys know my original bamboo Voyager palette, and if you have not had the opportunity to get you a bamboo Voyager palette, the link for my website is in the video description, so you can always go grab your Defiant Art bamboo Voyager palette, or if you are on Palm Street, you can actually click the Palm Street link, get it from a Palm Street store, because Palm Street is where all of the sale prices are constantly. But yeah, this is the bamboo Voyager palette. So I don't know. I like wood palettes. I like to bring release branded products that are wood. So who knows? We'll see. All right, so let's get these unwrapped so we can see what we have going on here. I'm gonna put these in some type of order. We're gonna go rose red, scarlet, um, cad yellow, lemon yellow, leaf, nope, Viridian leaf, Prussian cobalt, purple. What do we have? Ochre, umber, and Payne's gray. It's a pretty interesting color palette. I know this is an ultramarine blue. Yeah, not sure how I feel about that. Um, they have a burnt umber instead of a burnt sienna. There's an ochre, which ochre can be actually different from yellow ochre, and due to the fact that it doesn't seem to be. Wait. What do we have here? We have pigment numbers. Okay. We have pigment numbers, and we also have the vehicle that's used to deliver everything. So they are using gum Arabic. Okay. So the artist information is presented as well. I'm excited. Let's just go ahead and pull this off. So this first one is rose red. And with rose red, on one side of the sticky, you're going to get the pigment number, which is PV19. It lets you know that it's delivered with gum Arabic. Um, Wait a minute. Why is rose red PV19? Okay, I won't question it. We'll just test it in a second. Then it also gives you transparency rating and light fast. Now, this seems to have 5 stars. Interesting. Now let's see what would be considered light fast. Let's look at the burnt umber because it's the earth pigment. So burnt umber has 5 stars. So I'm going to assume that this is ranked on a star scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is the most fugitive and 5 is supposed to be the most light fast. Let's test that theory again. So ochre, which is another earth mineral, which would typically be light fast, has 5 stars as well. And some of these have a misprint, not unless that's meant to be 4.5 stars, but I've never heard of that type of, of rating. So 5 stars on that one, 4 stars on the Prussian blue, which should be more fugitive. Okay. Now, what I'm going to have to do is by the time we get to the review, I will look at each pigment number combination and be able to tell you whether or not I think their light fast ratings is actually legit based on the normalcy of how that pigment would typically work. But for right now, let's go ahead and knock this out. So I have a swatch sheet already prepared here. Now, what I was going to do was just kind of, let's throw all that to the side, and I'm swatching on Canson XL 140-pound cold press acid free cellulose paper. Yes, I like to swatch on cellulose paper as well because it typically helps you see if the paint set you're testing has any issues. Specifically, It helps flocculation and those things that are not actually giving you granulation show up better. And then the ones that's supposed to give you granulation, it actually helps force the granulation even more. Um, that's been my experience anyway. So I'm just going to actually put this down like this and just keep these. So we'll do the rose red, and I can just kind of pop them in as we go, and then we'll swatch them real quick. And I will tell you the pigment numbers in a light fast. Now, you can tell right off that those are extruded paints. More than likely, that is glued down on the inside of this half pan with a glue dot. Let's see. Because they're definitely machine cut. This is not a hand poured paint. Yeah, it's glued in there well, but that's definitely a glue dot holding it in. So you could actually get rid of the paint altogether and even reuse the half pans if you wanted to. All right. Cad yellow. I'm trying to take the wrappers off without tearing anything. Now I've noticed lately that a lot of the budget companies are actually starting to present artist information with their paint palettes. Now, I don't know if that's because they've had their ears to the ground and really been listening to the art community and really been listening when people are reviewing products and saying, hey, I understand that it is a student grade product, but it would be nice to actually have the artist information with it as well. Now, the thing about that though is that most budget companies are white labeling their products from another factory. So that information on those pigments is basically they're trusting that the information the factory is giving them uh, is is good. And sometimes you have to take it with a grain of salt because it could be coming from a factory that doesn't do their own independent light fast testing. So they are copying and pasting that information from another manufacturer, if that makes sense. I've seen it happen. The only time I 100% trust artist information is when the product is produced in-house or it's coming from a budget company that I know for sure goes out of its way not only to pick great factories, but to try to provide their artists or their customers with the consumers with the most accurate information possible. That was Prussian blue. We're going to put down cobalt blue real quick. Give me just a second, guys. I'm going to check the comment section. We're going to have a comment section break in just a second. Let me get these down. My stomach is growling. I actually have to go to the office and speak to the manager of my complex today and my landlord because they're on my last nerve. Been trying to get this window fixed forever. That was purple. We'll put down ochre next. I will say, although there's no ultramarine in the set, the color selection based off of the looks seems to be something that's pretty well rounded, especially for travel. Because I could possibly see landscapes coming out of this color selection. I can also see urban sketching coming out of this color selection. But we're going to see how bright and vibrant the paints are in just a second. All right, and then there is Payne's Gray, which I love a set that comes with a Payne's Gray. I'm a Payne's Gray fan. It happens to be one of my favorite colors. Well, when it's made with the PBK 7, that's basically just black. They're calling it Payne's Gray, but that if all it has is PBK 7 in it, it's basically just black. All right, excuse me. Let's pre-spray these real quick. I'm gonna pull off to the side. We will wash the sizing out of, well, I can't get it out of there now. Interesting. Okay, so I mean it holds in there well, but it's a little deep and a little slippery. So, but once your paints are clamped down, it shouldn't matter. Let's check the comment section. I'm gonna wash the sizing out of the number 10 round end of this travel brush, and then we'll get to swatching in just a second. We're gonna start off with, let's flip this over so we can actually have a little mixing room. This is gonna be rose red is what it's called. If you guys can't see, let me know and I'll turn on the studio lights. That's a gorgeous color. That's a pretty color. Then we have Scarlet. I can already tell you that. And see, yeah, these are superior paints. Okay, so most of you who have been following me for a while know that I'm a superior paint fan. As far as student grade Chinese paints go, I think they make some of the most vibrant, punchy student paints to work with. I still say I take the light fast ratings with a grain of salt. I have found some of their light fast ratings to be spot on. I have found some to be like, I'm not sure who y'all was trying to fool with this. Oh, look at that. That's a gorgeous golden sun leaning yellow. That is cad yellow. Yeah, definitely superior paints. So let's talk about it. If you have the original 36 count of Doodle Hall watercolors, you already have these paints. If you have Artwell 24 half pan or even their 24 tubes, you already have these paints. Um, if you have Marie's Masters paints in the tube, you actually have these paints, but they're next step up called Superior Masters paints. Um, let's see, who else can I think of off the top of my head that this would be? Um, Off the top of my head, so if you have any of the flip kits, you already have this. If you have any of the folding fan palettes, you already have this paint. If you have any of the cell phone palettes that have the little things that come out the side and the ends of it, you already have this paint. Yes, it's superior. Let's move on. Next one we have lemon yellow. So if you wanted to get this just for like the palette, that would make sense because it's a cute little palette. Next up, we're looking at Viridian, which, yeah, is just phthalo green. I figured that much. It's not a true Viridian, but gorgeous color nonetheless. Now, if it was a true Viridian, it would granulate. We'll see once that dries. I'm going to add a little extra pigment to it, but more than likely, it's not going to. Superior doesn't use a true Viridian pigment to make their Viridian. They basically use phthalo green. So it's a PG7. Let me see. It is. Hold on. Let me see what they're saying it is. They're saying their Viridian is PY 101 and PB 17. Oh, it's not even phthalo. I don't believe that. That's definitely a phthalo green. But see, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. you can't you can't always believe the hype. You can't always believe the hype. All right. Then we have Prussian blue, which they have is PB27, which is the actual Prussian blue pigment. So, you know, I don't know. Have to decide whether you believe that. They could very well be copying and pasting this pigment number from another set that they already produce. It's a beautiful blue though. Prussian blue is one of my favorite colors. All right, next we're doing cobalt. And I haven't clipped these back down, so they're gonna wiggle around on me, which is fine. Yeah, there's definitely something mixed with a white. Let's see. It says it's PB28, but I don't buy that. That definitely has a white mixed into it. So I'm thinking maybe they just copied the. Yeah, nah, I don't buy that this PB28, but I could be wrong. I don't know everything, and I'm just I base all of my assumptions and assessments on experience and the fact that I've probably reviewed hundreds of paints by this point in my career. Okay, here we have, they just call it purple. It is PV23. I don't know about that either. It's a gorgeous color though. The colors are very bright and punchy. We'll see how they're going to shift once they dry. Doesn't seem like it's doing too much shifting if you pay attention to that rose red there. So it looks like they're going to hold their vibrancy even on something like a cellulose paper. This next color is called ochre. And you can't just swatch these directly from the pan because you want to keep kind of strong. That's not bad. Not quite as yellow as a yellow ochre, but it's pretty. Excuse me. Next up, we have burnt umber, which this looks really brown for a burnt umber. That looks more like burnt sienna. Burnt umber tends to be much darker, but it will still work well as a mixing brown. And then last but not least, we have Payne's Gray. Yeah, that's black. They're saying it's Payne's Gray, but that is definitely a black. The pigment number is PBK7, pigment black 7. Yeah, I feel like that's a black. So there are the paints swatched out. I'll run through these really quickly and tell you what they say they are. We have the rose red, which they're saying is PV19. We have a scarlet, which is PR123. At least they are trying to pick the correct pigment numbers. Whether this actually was in the paint, I don't know. Cadmium yellow, PY35. We have a lemon yellow, which is PY3. You know, the thing about PY3 is lately, a lot of companies are starting to change their view on it being as light fast as previously advertised. It's been a little controversy over PY3 lately. Viridian, they have this PY101 and PB17, which I just don't understand. They're saying there's a phthalo blue in it, so yeah, just call it phthalo green. Leaf green is four pigments. It is, oh my geez, let's see, I can't really read that. It is PG36, PY12, PR101, and PW5. So it has a mixing white in it, and they're disclosing it. And you would wonder to yourself, if they're disclosing the fact that there's a mixing white in the leaf green, why wouldn't they disclose the fact that there's a mixing white in that cobalt blue? Although they don't have to. That's regulation. That's a little insider information. When it comes to mixing whites, companies actually do not, well, first of all, they don't have to tell you what's in the paints at all. But typically, those companies that do, even those ones that are known and have a reputation for telling you what's in their paints, they typically withhold when they use a PW4 or a PW5 in the paints. Just a little FYI. Cobalt is, they has PB28, which I said I'm questioning that. PB27 on a Prussian blue, Uh, yeah, I don't know. I think these are more dyes than pigments, but whatever. The purple is PB23. Ochre is BR7, brown 7. Um, burnt umber is PR101, which is okay. And PBR7. Now, what's funny is I like the pigment PBR7. I'm not a huge fan of PR101, although PR101 is the one you typically see released with the burnt sienna or the burnt umber and most student grade paints. PBR7 tends to be more common amongst professional grade paints, and they're basically saying that both those pigments are in there to make that one brown, which actually looks more like burnt sienna than burnt umber. But I digress. And then we have Payne's Gray, which is PBK7, which I've already said several times. I feel is more like a black. So there you have it, friends. Those are the paints that are included in the little travel box. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Let's do some painting. Let's do a painting with them real quick. Ugh. So I have section of February's watercolor calendar. That's what I have here. If you do not know, on this channel. We started it last year and we're continuing it this year, where we do a watercolor calendar page for each month of the year. And this year I am using Light Wishes version of the watercolor calendar. Last year we used Grabby. Other than Grabby basically being, yes, I'm gonna say it. And if you are a Grabby fan, I'm sorry, I don't mean to, you know, offend you in any type of way, but I believe Grabby is a ripoff company. I believe that they white label their products and then mark them up 3 to 4 times more than what they're actually worth. Okay. So now with that little tad bit out the way, um, last year we did the Grabby calendar, and it said it was 100% cotton paper, but the surface area was kind of small, and I just didn't really care for that paper. And that has been the first and last Grabby product that I have purchased. This year we went in the Light Wish direction. We've already done January's page, so you can go check this out in the live section on the channel. If you missed it, we did Mylar balloons in rainbow order for 2026. So you can definitely go check that out. And today we're going to, this is March. Today we're going to be doing February. Now, as I told you earlier, I am about to wing this. I have not really, I had not really come to a definite conclusion on what I was going to be painting. So I think I'm just going to do some variation of what I did and then just keep painting tutorial on Patreon the other day. Because those do tend to come out as time lapse here on YouTube, but there was a few discrepancies with what was released on YouTube and what was released on Patreon, so whatever. Um, my ultimate artist grade paint is one that most people probably wouldn't agree with, and that's Mission Gold. My favorite professional grand paint is Mission Gold, specifically their pure pigment paint set. My favorite for the way I like to paint, for the brightness, for the ability to layer and glaze without creating mud or goop or lifting if you didn't want to, the ability to scrub back depending on the color because some of them do stain. That set is a little bit more staining than some of your normal sets. Um, the color selection, the fact that they are pure pigment, so you're getting single pigment colors for each single one. Um, and they make me happy when I paint with them. Yeah. Now, I think that there are dozens of other amazing brands of paints. Typically, when people ask me that question, I think that they're expecting me to say something like Daniel Smith or Sennelier or Schminke. And although I love all three of those brands a lot, I am a bigger fan of Magello Mission Gold Pure Pigment paints. Okay. Let's see. What are we doing? I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what we're doing. So we're going to start with the T square, and we are going to put in a horizon line about a third of the way, a little bit more than a third of the way down. Grab a pencil here. A little bit more, a little bit more, right there, right there. And I'm gonna put it on really, really lightly. Uh, and then maybe we'll make this sort of marshy like that other one was. So we will, I don't know. Let's see, let's put in, I'm just painting now. I'm really just coming up with something. Let's put in a little island over here. And we'll make that tall grass. And then let's put in some craziness that curves around over here. Don't ask me what we're doing. I don't know yet, but we're about to get there. And I'm drawing in. Okay. And do I want to put anything? Maybe a little bit of a mountain. Maybe, maybe. I don't know. Um, Something like that. I know you can barely see it. I drew it in really, really light because I don't want the graphite lines to show really a lot on here, but you'll see it as we get to going. So I'm gonna start off with what were the paints? What was this, cobalt blue? I mean, since it is, yeah, this is definitely superior paint. Even the way it dries on a palette lets me know it's superior. I'm gonna rinse. It looks like I still had some of that quote unquote Payne's gray in that. I'm gonna start off with mixing up a little blue here, wetting my sky area. Hopefully, we're gonna produce something nice, considering the fact that it is on one of the calendar pages. But if it's the one thing I've been doing lately, especially since this new year began, with all of the craziness going on in the world and the other stress that we're constantly under by just simply turning on the TV or picking up a newspaper or looking at social media, is that I'm going to be much kinder to myself this year. That's not very saturated. Let's get that up out of there. I want to be kinder to myself this year. I want to keep horizontal strokes going across my paper. It's really just across the top there. Use a little water to blend it on down to the horizon line. It's really light. Let's grab a little bit more color. Let's go straight from the pen here. Then grab the wash and work down the paper. You could use, um, you might actually have a little bit more look using a flat brush, especially when you're painting a landscape. I love using flat brushes for painting landscapes. I'm gonna work that back up and then work back down again. My paper seems to be dry, which is perfectly fine with me. Now we could put a mountain in right now. Let's grab a little bit of that Prussian blue, mix it in with that cobalt, and I'm gonna run that across the top just so it's a little darker. I really wish there was an ultramarine in this set So if I had to change anything right off, it would be that there's no ultramarine, and I would add one. Yes, ma'am. Mission Gold Pure Pigment. That's the yes, ma'am. That's the correct spelling. That's it. Um, actually, you know what? I'll have to pull out the hair dryer. That's fine. Let's go ahead. Let's blend this. Let's because I want a seamless blend here. Let's go ahead and wet the rest of that paper. Told you we're winging it. We're winging it. And let's. I don't want to do. Let's grab some of this and blend it into the bottom. Yep, we're changing beats for a second. And we're just gonna blend it down. Keep my blue towards the top here. There we go. Put some more paint on that paper. Acting like they didn't want to have paint on it. And then I'll switch back over to the blue and put that in towards the bottom. Brush doesn't seem to want to grab much of this paint. Now this brush is a synthetic swirl brush, so it holds lots of water. Supposed to be a travel brush. That's something to keep in mind, just in case it's important to you. I'm gonna re-wet my top. That way I can blend it down and then blend the purple, blend the pink up. Playing with it too much, I know. Don't you worry. We're gonna turn it into something nice before it's over with, though. All right, let's go ahead and dry that. I'm gonna grab my drying tool real quick. Sorry about any noise that may be in your ear. Like I said, I wasn't really prepared for what I was going to do today, so I'm winging it. But we're going to try to wing us out a nice little landscape here. All right. If you're sensitive to noise, wow. If you're sensitive to noise, now would be the time to hold your ear. If you have any questions, again, don't forget or hesitate to drop them in the comment section. If you're watching on replay, in the chat box, if you're here with us live, I'm going to turn on the dryer in three, two, is first things first. We're going to grab um, the other end of the detail brush. Now, the idea that I'm going for here is to just use what came in this kit, just in case this is something that you decided to purchase and you was going to use it traveling. Like, would just this be enough, considering the fact that it already has the infinity pencil on it anyway? So, what I want to do is mix. I want to mix. I want to mix a, or do I want to just use a Payne's gray? Hmm. Let's mix Prussian blue and a little of what they're calling burnt umber, which I believe is burnt sienna, and it went green. Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. The pigment makeup of that, yeah, okay. So let's grab some blue and some Payne's gray. And that's gonna darken it and make it even more green. I don't want to do that. Let's just go with the regular Payne's gray over here. Add a little water to it. And I want to go in and kind of, so I am kind of basing in a mountain here. So much easier if you have a flat brush. But basically, I'm leaving air in there. Although it's not like completely snow capped, maybe we can give the impression that it might be a little snow ridden. And I want to put that range all across the back of my paper. And I even picked up some of that green by accident, so why not? We'll mix it all in there together. Told you I don't have no plan. I'm just painting. I don't know how it's gonna come out, if it's gonna come out, what it's gonna come out to look like. But that's not bad. Look at that. We got a rock formation back there already. Let's grab a little bit of that directly from, and I'm gonna drop it in, especially across the top. Now, if I had left it light, it would have looked a little bit more in the distance. But hey, it's fine that we pull it forward. Hopefully it'll shift. Won't be too bad. And that wasn't a mistake I made by adding it in at dark and kind of pulling that mountain forward. It's not bad. I can live with it. I really can. As I say that, I go back in and fool with it some more. All right, let's go ahead and grab, what greens do we have? This is a, let's mix out the leaf green, and then we'll do the leaf green and some viridian. Add a little water to that. Let's put one down here, which is a little bit more blue. Let's add some Prussian blue to that one. A little bit more. Get it super kind of dark, and then we can even do one over here. And some green, and let's add some of the cad yellow to that one. Add a little water to it. Cad yellow. A little more of that tree. Leaf green is what they call it. All right, let's do this one first. So I'm gonna start here with the leaf, and Let's grab some of this green and this green. Mix it in a little bit darker and a little ochre. Why not make it warmer on the front? All right. And let's do, I don't want that to run up in, give me 2 seconds. Let me dry this little area because I don't want this to back run up into the mountain. Again, I have no idea where this is going. I'm just painting. Hopefully it's gonna go somewhere that makes sense. I was more prepared for the unboxing and swatching than I was for the actual painting, which really isn't like me, but hey, stuff happens. And let's do some of that Viridian green. Mix some of it in. Go back over to this green that we had. Some of that ochre color. Mix it in, just bring it right on down. A little bit of that dark right now, not too much of it. Come back over to our lighter green. Blend it in a little bit better. Let's go ahead and get this finished. All right, I am going to then pick up my board and kind of knock some of that around. Let it blend on the paper, see what happens there. All right, let's see. So now we got some landmass going on. We got some river going on. We got some mountains going on in the background. Um, I want to punch up the color in the water a little bit. We'll end up putting a bank back here. Let's do that. Maybe we'll put a few trees. Probably not because that is really dark, and I don't want to put anything in front of it and mud it up. So we'll turn it into a marsh. We're kind of shooting somewhere for something like that. Not quite, but you know. Let's see here. So what I want to do is I want to dry. So yeah, this one ended up being really, it's good that I have the hair dryer handy. So I'm gonna turn it on real quick, and then we're gonna move on to, maybe I should have put some little peaks right there, or maybe I can put them in with some darker green in just a minute. All right, let's dry. It's still a little damp. That's okay. Let's go ahead and punch up. I want to punch this up before we actually do um, the rest of the like grassy area. So I'm going to grab some of this. What is this? What was this? Cobalt, cerulean, something, whatever blue this is. I think it's cobalt. That's what they're calling it. And I'm basically just going to recover my water. Now, this is not something I normally suggest a person doing. I typically say that when you get your water done and you get your skies done, leave them alone. But there's always an exception to the rules, right? And I'm breaking my own rules right now. That's okay. It is perfectly okay. It happens. And I'm gonna blend it down with some water. But I just needed to punch up. Oh, no, that's the wrong red. We don't want to introduce a new color. Just needed to punch up the color in my water. La 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 la. And then we need to hurry up and catch this part before it stains and leave a permanent line there. I'm gonna grab that blue. And this is where, because I need to get rid of that hard line right there. So I'm literally just, oop, did not mean to do that though. Okay, that was a boo-boo. That was a mistake. That was not meant to happen. Supposed to happen like that, but that's okay. Let's go and blend. Blendy, 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 blend, blend. One down into the other one up into the other. Grab a little bit more blue. Blendy, 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 blendy. A little bit more blue back here. You have to be careful though. You don't want to cause cauliflowers. And if you feel like an area is starting to bloom, wet the entire area again. It's okay. It's just a piece of paper. So wet the entire area again. That way it'll all dry evenly and you won't have blooms. Excuse me. And you can see how that red, that rose stained right there. All right. I just wanted to punch up that color. That probably was a mistake because it divided it off a little bit more than it originally was. And it's really hard for me to get this cobalt to be strong enough to reblend back in this area so that you can't really see where one ends and the other begins. But you know I'm going to try, right? You know it. You know I'm not just going to give up like that. I'm going to definitely try to get them to blend and look a little bit better together. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. All right, let's try that. Now I'm going to go in and let's see. We're going to put in some I'm gonna switch over to the detail brush. Excuse me. Yes, I plan on doing a Valentine theme this month, JC. I was gonna do Mylar balloon and love Mylar balloons since Mylar balloons were so famous for Valentine. Did I say Thanksgiving? I meant Valentine. I probably said. I feel like I said Thanksgiving. I don't know why. But Valentine, yes. Um, so instead of doing this live with like, so what I'm doing is I'm gonna paint a darker green around the outside of my marsh, and I'm gonna pull grasses up, and I'm using a little detail brush. Of course, they'll be much thinner. Yeah, I'm not feeling this at all, but we're gonna keep pushing. Who knows how to end up coming out? And if it doesn't come out, then I'm happy to share with you guys that even I have paintings that just don't work. It happens. And put in broken grasses. This is right up on the viewer, so this will be the most visible, and it will start to kind of taper smaller as it goes around the bend. That brush does not hold a lot of paint, I will say that. Bigger grasses on the front. It'll get smaller as they move around, shorter as they go off in the distance from you. All right, let's see. Mm. Could I do some roses as a tutorial on live? Absolutely. We'll work that in this month. Um, ooh, that's a good idea. 7 or 8 mini paintings. Nice. I like that, writing a little note on the back of your calendar page. That's pretty cool. Let's see. We're going to start our little. I don't know. I'm just going with the flow. Wherever my hand and a brush moves, that's what I'm doing. Don't have a reference photo, anything of that nature. I do want to feel like the brush could hold just a little bit more paint, but it's not terrible. I really want to kind of make that entire area grass, but we'll get to see what's gonna happen there. All right, let's do. We need riverbank. Let's grab. Excuse me, the burnt umber. Mix a little bit of that Payne's gray into it. Really make it look like a burnt umber versus a burnt sienna. And I'm going to go right under with some lost and found lines. And basically what we're doing is making it look like a little land sticking out here and there. A little bit more of that, definitely. And need to darken it up. Grab a little of that thing. All right, here we go. That way, you get a little sneak peek of land here and there. Maybe that's on some land. And come around here, showing under there. And maybe even back here, you can kind of see like where the land wraps around itself. Oops, I didn't mean to make it that big, but there we go. Well, it's one of them not so. It's not bad. It's not terrible. All right. What else? I want to put some different color grasses throughout. Just a little quick way to test out the paints. I'm gonna do a few more paintings, or at least one other painting. Like I said, I know what these are. These are superior paints. I don't necessarily need to really test them again. I could tell you now that if you want to see my review on these paints, to just go back in the Thrifty review playlist and check out the Artwell 24 half pen review. Man, that Doodle Hog 36 count half pen review, that review was done way back when I first started. It's pretty old. So the artwork might not be what it is nowadays, but definitely check it out. Let's grab a little bit of that ochre, mix that with the sap, add a little water to it. Pull a few of those out. They're not gonna show up as much. So I'm just trying to make it look like it's a really grassy area back here. Grab a little of the darker, throw that in here and there. Mm, 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 mm. Mm. I know that's right. There is a lot of heart healing needed. No doubt about it. All right, Michelle. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you. I won't need it, right? Good luck with the landlord. That's sweet of you. Um, absolutely. But yeah, we definitely need lots of heart healing nowadays. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's amazing. For the most part, a lot of us, all we want to do is get along, live together, love one another, and just live happily in peace. Not all of us, though. There are some unfortunate entities in this world at the moment that are definitely trying to purposely hurt our hearts. That's what's so sad about it. Like, jeez, that's not bad. It could have turned out a lot worse, huh? Let's put some reflection in. Let's do that. So I'll throw green up under the little brown area that I put down, and then just kind of pull little grasses imagery up into the water. Like this is the way I would paint if I was honestly out with this little set on the go, Like this is what I wouldn't be trying to create or paint a perfect image at all. I would be more so trying to capture the essence of what I was looking at, record all the information um, that I can real quick, like, because you will be out and about painting, so you don't really have time to really be perfect because you're worried about stuff like your light changing, or maybe somebody walking up and disturbing you, and you're taking your eye off of what you're looking at real quick. So there are just so much you're trying to do when you're playing air painting, and that's something I definitely want to shoot some videos on this spring and this summer. um, as we go into the spring and all, is that I definitely want to shoot video on some outside paintings and just what you would have to do to try to all right, let's see. I guess you would be able to see around this area. So I'm just gonna put a little bit because again it's further away from us. So I'm just putting a little something in the water so it don't look so. And then of course we would probably have the mountain reflecting since it's so close. So I'm gonna mix up all of this over here, this sludge I was using, water it down, and let's see if we can kind of just emulate really lightly back here, supposedly mountain shapes to look like a reflection. I'm not sure if I like the brush though, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sure, definitely not as much as I like the other one. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I think that makes sense. Only thing that doesn't make sense is the pink in the water that's not above the mountain. But hey, you can't win them all. Don't even try to. I'm gonna darken this shadow up on this mountain and this water. And then I think I'm going to put in a couple of plants flying in the background, capturing as much detail as I can. Hmm, that's not bad. It could be a lot worse, considering the fact that I had absolutely no idea what I was painting when I put the first stroke on the paper. All right, let's go ahead and use a black liner to, okay, that's not gonna work. Let's try this one. I never have the best luck with those Derwent liners. Now, this one is Prismacolor. I love this one. It works perfectly every single time. But for some reason, those Derwent line and wash fine liners do not work as well as one might think because of the brand that they come from. This is a very rough and crude painting, but hopefully it gave you some ideas, some inspiration. It's not necessarily February. I mean, I guess it's kind of springish. We're getting ready to move into the spring, right? Nonetheless, it was definitely a good way to try out the paints, which was the main purpose of all of this. All right, let's take this tape off. Hopefully it'll look better once we can see the white border and everything. Okay, so this side, so far so good. And then let's grab the top one. And there we go, my friend. It's not too bad. February's watercolor calendar. Um, and we tested out the, what are these things? The Fuumuui 12 color pocket box. I'll be honest, I would change some of the colors in that. I don't think I'm going to review this set. Like I said, when I get done with this video, I will actually link in the video description some links to paints that I've already reviewed, um, that are I feel like basically are this paint. Um, Actually, that didn't turn out too bad. I mean, it's not, perfect, but that actually didn't turn out too bad. That's yeah. But hopefully you guys picked up on something from that. If nothing else, how to make a little 3D marsh looking piece of landscape, right? Um, Here's what I would say, and I'm gonna conclude everything with this. I'm probably not gonna review these. Like I said, I'm gonna go back and link in um, some links in the video description. As soon as I'm done with this live, I'm gonna do it right away. I'm gonna link in the review for the Artwell 24 half pan. I'll link in the review for the Doodle Wash 36. And to mind you, that's the original Doodle Wash, not what they've branded now. I think they've changed manufacturers. I'm not sure if they use Superior. So what I'll do is I probably won't link that one. I will definitely link the Artwell. I'll link the Artwell 2 paint. Um, and anything else that I can remember that I believe is produced by Superior, I will link those in this live video description. So if you check back in the next 5 to 10 minutes after the live ends, excuse me, you should have access to those. Here's bottom line. Superior paints are bright, they're easy to use, they blend well, they are layer well. As you can see, just from what we did today, there's not a huge shift from wet to dry when it comes to the colors. Um, I don't have any issues with them, any drawbacks to them, other than the fact that I say that they are a student grade paint. I would take the artist information and the light fast information with a grain of salt. So I would use them for sketchbook work. I would use them for classroom work, teaching, things like what we're doing now. But I definitely would never use this set for anything that I was using to paint a commission, or for anything that I was going to be hanging in museum conditions that may be exposed to sunlight on a regular basis. Yeah, yeah. But really decent set of paints. Let me tell you how much they cost, since we're not going to get around to, we're just going to kind of talk about everything with this set in this video. This paint set cost, hold on, I'm pulling up my Amazon list now. Okay, this paint set was, oh, come on. They are currently listed. The 12 color set is currently listed for $24.99. And then you can get a 24 color set, which is listed for $29.99. Oh, really? Okay, I would just go with the 24 color set for $30 versus the 12 color set for $25. Because basically you're getting 12 additional colors, a bigger palette, bigger surface mixing area for just $5 more. I don't know why I didn't pay attention to that when I ordered this, because I definitely would have just ordered the bigger palette because it just makes more sense. And right now, they also have a 10% off, on top of a regular percentage off. So the list price for the 24 set is normally $36.99, with the 10% off and the additional 9% off being 19% off. They come down to $29.99. So $30 for 24 colors, in my opinion, is the better buy than $25 for the 12 colors. Um, do I think it's worth it? Yes, just due to the fact that you get this really cute wooden travel palette that you can literally take the paints out of and use whatever you want to use in it. Um, I would pay 25. Okay, it's made worth being $25 because the paint and the water and the travel brush and the sponge is included. This is like we were saying earlier, particle board, masonite. Um, this is manufactured wood, so you'll have to gauge whether you feel like paying $25 for manufactured wood is worth it for you. But I like the palette. I think it's really stable and sturdy and cute. I think the magnets are really strong and they hold really well. The brush is really nice for what it is. You get a double-ended single barrel brush where you're going to get a detail head on one end and a number 10 round on the other end. You're also going to get the Forever pencil, so you do already have the sketching ability included in your palette. There's 24 robust, bright, and saturated paints that you can really paint a multitude of different things with. So I would say it's worth $25. I would say that the bigger palette would be worth $30, especially if it's a duplicate of this just in a bigger version. And I would probably say that the $30 version would be the better buy because it's only $5 more for double the size palette, double the amount of paints. So not bad. Not bad at all. I'm gonna check the comment section. I'm sorry, the chat box. If I had to give this entire paint system a star scale, 1 to 5 student grade, it's probably going to hit about a 3.5, 4, somewhere in that area. I wish they had put an ultramarine in there instead of a cobalt. Um, Outside of that, the color selection, the burnt umber, I wish it was a real burnt umber because I really think that's a burnt sienna, but they both basically mix to do the same thing. My own personal preference would have preferred a yellow ochre over an ochre, but that's a very minute issue to have with the paint set. I do believe that the Payne's gray is actually black instead of Payne's gray, but if you add enough water to it, you actually water it down to being gray. So it kind of works in there. Yeah, I say if it's something you want, again 3.5, 4 stars. I feel like it's worth it if for no other reason than the really cool palette with the brush. And if you decide to take the paints out, hey, look, you got 12 half pans or 24 if you get the bigger set that you can fill with whatever paint you want to. All right, I'm gonna check the comment section before we wrap up. I mean, chat box before we wrap up. Better weather. I love the cold, so I'm okay with the cold. I like all the weather, I guess. If people really heal their hearts, you speaking, that's what we call bars. You know, when a rap artist writes something that is profound, we call it a bar. That's a bar. Imagine if people really heal their hearts, entirely different world we would have. Absolutely. Thank you, Gwen. I thank you. Thank you, I'm glad y'all think it looks good. Nicole says she likes the red in the painting. Cool, cool, cool. It does kind of give it a pop, huh? Thank you, thank you. Doesn't have to be perfect. Absolutely, doesn't have to be perfect, but it's pretty cool. I think anybody could actually follow this live and pick up on some pretty decent techniques, maybe. Really pops on the page. Cool. I hope it does too, Nicole. You can hear it, huh? I'm struggling. I'm struggling. Like even as I speak now, I'm struggling. That's okay that you was painting with other paints and watercolor pencils. As long as it turned out and you're happy with it, sis, that's all that matters. You could have did use anything. I mean, kind of what I was pulling the ideal off of. I used Mungio paints. Mungio. Yes, Mungia Gallery paints to paint this one. So yeah. All right, friends, that is pretty much gonna bring this live to an end. I've held you long enough. It is 1:30. We were 11, 12, 1. So we've been on what, 2.5 hours almost. So there's a quick look at the things that we've done so far this year for the watercolor calendar. We had our January page, we have our February page. They both look pretty decent, and we will be moving it into our March page when March comes. Don't forget this upcoming Wednesday here on YouTube, we have our pre-recorded water soluble Wednesday release. Tonight over in Patreon at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have our regularly scheduled Patreon Monday Night Live. Don't forget to go check out the Open to All Between the Brushstrokes series that has dropped over on Patreon. If you have not already hit that link and bookmark the sale for February 22nd over on Palm Street, do hit that Palm Street link. Go and bookmark that sale. Keep in mind that is the thrifty, custom, handmade sketchbook sale, where all the sketchbooks that are going to be available will all be handmade and hand bound inside the studio here. Am I forgetting anything? If I am, it'll be in the video description, so just check it, including the most recommended product list, which has now been moved to the Defiant Art website. There's a link for the Defiant Art website. There's a link for Facebook, Paints, Pencils, and Pastels, which is the Thrifty Apprentice sponsored Facebook group. Instagram, definitely be sure to follow over on Instagram, guys. I'm really trying to build the following up over there so that I can get to 1,000. So they'll unlock the live capability. Back in August, they changed their policies and it took away the ability to go live from anyone who didn't have 1,000 or more followers. Now, I've been on Instagram 4 or 5 years. I have not even cracked 400 followers. I've never understood it. I'm not sure that the algorithm really likes what I do, but I tell you guys about it so that you can tell someone and they can tell someone, and eventually we'll be back at the 1,000 followers over on Instagram, so I can go back to doing the lives over there. Ugh. I'm going to continue to research Substack to see how that may play out. I'm definitely going to be looking at Discord based on the recommendation of a lot of people now. Um, I am really, really, really hooked and determined to make the classroom, everybody viewing, everybody talking, not needing a chat box sessions happen. And I'm going to find the right platform since we are all spread out, and meeting up in person would be a lot harder than one thinks. Um, Anything else I want to throw out there? Right now, no, that seems to be it. Keep your guys' ears to the ground. I hope you enjoy your week. Remember, paint something. Be kind to yourself. Do not let what you're painting stress you out. Your painting is supposed to help ease your stress and make your day and your life better. So let it do its job. Okay. I'll see Patreon members tonight. And remember, let me make sure nothing I need to check in the comments. Yes, Terry, definitely bookmark the sale. Okay, good. Gwen, thank you so much. Terry, you don't have Instagram? It doesn't matter. No, I'm not moving the lives to that platform. No, no, no. I just do lives over on Instagram. I do lives there. So no, 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 no. You we will be. I really like the way that turned out now that it's drying and I'm looking at it. Look at how crisp those colors are. This is what I mean about superior paints. They are actually really good. I really am excited about the virtual classroom studio. Me too, Terry. I'm really excited about that. All right, friends. Like I said, if you're a part of Patreon, I will see you tonight. If not, I will see you the next time here on the tubes or on Palm Street or on Instagram or on Facebook or wherever we run into each other. Enjoy your day. Like I said, paint something, be kind to yourself, and remember, as I tell you at the end of every single video, my friends, just keep creating.